Welcome everybody to the Rob and Ace and Rob show. I'm Ace. Rob is with us as well. We're going to do another topic on the ladies today. Ladies, we're going to be discussing the good guy, bad guy paradigm. It seems to be, and we speak in generalities here. This isn't, specific to everybody. I'm sure there's some outliers. But you ladies tend to go for the bad boy first, the typical guy who isn't really good for you, but you still get with him anyway. And then later on in life, you kind of wise up and get the good guy. Like the most prominent example nowadays would be Sierra. I'm sure.
Perfect example. Beautiful example.
Yeah, like I'm sure if you don't know who that is, it's easy to Google. Entertainer, average voice, but looks amazing. So she got her big break. She had some songs. They weren't really chart toppers, but they were enough to get her noticed. She goes through early phases just dating the worst guys. And I'm not talking about like these are bad people, but they obviously didn't want to be with her long term. So she was with 50 Cent. She was with
Bow Wow.
Bow Wow, some other garbage rapper. She was with Future, had a baby with him. And the thing when she was with Future was she was smiling, she was happy, but every picture she was high. You noticeably saw it, she was high. Everybody who knows who Future is knows he's not about wifing you. It's not going to happen. He got like 9 kids with 10 different women. He is the male equivalent of Papa was a Rolling Stone. He will F you and give you a baby and keep it moving. He does not care. And she's one of his baby mothers. And she went through that phase. And then she met Russell Wilson, who was a quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks and is all around a good guy. And now she seems like she's in a better place and she's happy and she's more well-adjusted. But the question that I have and what most guys have is, why does that phase even need to happen? Like, why can't you wait for that good guy and get him initially as opposed to putting all that mileage on yourself? Like, ladies, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I don't care how well-adjusted or how pro-female your man is. No man wants a woman with a super high body count. Like, there's a reason porn stars generally don't get married. It's not because they're not good people. It's because we've seen them fuck. Excuse my language. We've seen it. We've seen how many people they've been with. They gave you a detailed record of it. They can't deny it. You know how some of y'all ladies will be with 5, but you'll say 2, or you'll be with 10, but you'll say 4. They can't deny it. We have footage. There was an interesting interview online. Lisa Ann, who's a prominent female porn star, I think she's out of the business, so she's doing directing now, or maybe she does a scene every once in a while.
She's parlayed this into a post-porn career, but she's one of the
and she's one of the exceptions. Good for her. But she was asked by the interviewer, well, do you have anybody in your life? Is there someone special? And she kind of hesitated to say, but she said she has a few guys that she messes with, but nothing serious, and she can't see herself being with anybody serious. And I was thinking, like, yeah, you don't have a choice. They're not getting serious with you because they don't want to. It's not because you don't want to. You're not the choosing part of this. I'm sure if you wanted to, you could, if you really got deep to it, she wants to be married, or she wants to be in a relationship, or she wants to have somebody who's just with her. And it came out later that there was one guy that she has that feeling for. It just never happened. You want to know why? Because she spent her 20s, 30s, and most of her 40s having sex on film. Nobody's following that. It is there's a lot of guys who will line up to have sex with her, but I don't know any guys that are going to marry that. That's just not going to happen. But back to women like Sierra. And I even make it personal. The woman I'm with right now, I think I told Rob this story a long time ago. We've been together for about 2-3 years, lived together. She's kind of like my son's stepmom. I'm like her daughter's stepfather. We have a very good relationship, and we're honest enough to have these discussions because it's healthy and it's good when you're in a relationship to have discussions like this. And she said something that would hurt most men, but to me, as I listened to it, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. She said, I would never be with you in my 20s. I was like, well, why? That makes no sense. If you with me now, why wouldn't you be with your 20s? She's like, because you're boring. When I was younger, I wanted those dangerous bad boys. Now that I'm older, I realize that that's dumb. So I want a guy who's quote unquote boring. I want a guy who I know isn't going to give me these problems. Now, a lot of guys would have heard that boring term, but like, but fuck you. I'm not boring. I'm exciting. But to be an adult is kind of boring. I'm
Yes.
not going to be running the streets 99 days out of 100. I'm not going to be out all night worrying about if the cops coming to get me. I'm not going to be doing stuff. I'm not going to be dipping in and out of 15 different women's houses. I'm not going to give you those headaches because I'm an adult. I don't need, there's no reason for that. Like grown men, adult males, mature males, we value peace far over anything else. It goes peace, then your job or your career, then your kids, then your woman, in that order. And the fourth one is interchangeable. Because I mean, the woman can be with your family. It could be a tie. Who knows? But it's generally in that order. But back to the topic at hand, Rob, why do you think these ladies choose to go? Like men don't do this. Men don't have a quote unquote phase where we go for the bad girls. Like we'll have sex with them, but we're not trying to marry them. Why are women trying to marry these bad boys and be in long-term relationships with these dudes that they deep down inside know ain't worth it?
So I really like this topic because we had a really good in-depth production meeting, we'll call it, about it. And we have, as this seems to happen pretty often on our show, we have sort of a halfway point where we agree to an extent, and then we sort of both veer off onto two sides. So I look at it the way I look at a computer. There is the operating system, and that's what came out of the box, right? Then there's the software that you install. Now, why do women do this? There's two separate reasons, actually. There's one, the operating system, and then two, the software that's installed. And I tend to lean towards the operating system has its reasons first, and you were sort of leaning towards the software that gets installed afterwards.
Okay. So break that down. Break down your side, and I'll go to my side.
So when I say the operating system, I go into the science of female nature, and that is dating back to caveman times and our genetics. Woman's genetic makeup influences her to search for the best mate. Now, what does best mate mean is going to vary from woman to woman, but the best mate generally, in the general sense, is going to mean the combination of strongest, smartest, most potential for provisioning. Could be most charming, could be any number of these values that women look for. Now, when women are young and they're less informed, they're going to look at the drug dealer, they're going to look at the high school quarterback, they're going to look at the typical archetype for alphas depending on their setting, and they're going to work from there. That's where they're going to make those decisions from. Why? Because their bodies want the best children. And women are never more fertile and ready to go than the ages of 16 to 25. So at those ages, that is what they are looking for. Now, the thing is, that is what all women are very much aroused by. But as they mature, they understand this is not what's good for them. But by the time they come to that conclusion, it's already a little bit too late because they ended up messing around too much for an extended period of time. Now, the thing about men is there was a time before, I would say, the 50s and 60s, where men were capable of being both sides of what a woman needed. Men were masculine and honorable. Today, you only get two different types of guys most of the time. You get a guy who's hyper masculine, alpha male, and you get the guy who's going to be a doting, good husband material, so to speak. When that used to be one guy, a guy was going to be good husband material and he was going to be a man's man. So that's my take on it from that standpoint.
Okay, so I think that's where we diverge, because I don't go into the whole genetics of it. I just go into basic what I see, like the socioeconomics of it, the social studies, if you will.
You go through the influence, the culture, and the software, as I said. So
yeah, like it's basic. It's immaturity. Like, you don't know until you know. Like, we all have that one family member who's younger than us that's a knucklehead, and you can try to tell them, 1 + 1 is 2, but they're always gonna be like, nah, I can make it 3.
Oh, nah, I can make it 4. I love that you said that. I love that you said that. I don't, for me, it's I occasionally, some of the young guys I train with.
Yeah, exactly. Like, everybody has that person in their life. If they're on solid ground, they have a person that is in their life that is a knucklehead, and they're trying to help get to the same solid ground they are. But that person doesn't listen. And what happens is one of two things. Life kicks them in the face to the point where they're like, you know what? Maybe he was right, or maybe she was right. Or they continue doing the same thing and end up upset, sad, alone, dying by themselves. That's the only things. And what happens with women a lot is, when you're younger, you'd have no concept of danger. 99% of the people in this country, because we're a first world country, no matter where you are, I don't care if you're in the slums, if you're in the hood, if you're in the deepest, darkest crevices of Harlem or Bed-Stuy or Opelika, Florida, it doesn't matter what hood you're from, you're still in a first world hood. It's not as bad as Brazil. It's not as bad as Egypt. It's not as bad as Jamaica without the resort. It's still a first world bad place. And a first world bad place is a good place to 90% of the planet. So we don't have any real concepts of danger. So when you're younger, you seek out that danger. And it goes into two things for women. One, women are naturally nurturers. They have that in their DNA. There's a reason why in a lion pride, the head lion will have sex with as many females as possible to create as much offspring as possible. And he won't walk around and do shit else. He's not watching the kids. He's not pampering the kids. He's not making sure the kids know how to hunt. He's not doing any of that. His job is to protect the pride and get ladies pregnant. That's it. The females will all have sex with the head lion, get pregnant, produce the offspring, and then care for that offspring and teach the offspring how to hunt and make sure they're virile and make sure they're fed. That it's in the female nature. Most women want to have children. Most women, when they have children, want to nurture and care and raise those children to have the best outcome in life, better than the outcome they have. No matter how good your outcome is, you want your kids to be better. Men don't operate that way. We don't give a shit. Like, and it's not that we don't care as deeply, but we can't. It's like how women can't understand how sexual we are. We can never understand how nurturing they are. It's two completely different wavelengths. So when a woman meets a bad boy, a guy who lights her senses and makes her want to be with him, even though she knows he's a bad guy, they always have the same thing. Well, I can change him. I can make him into this, or I can fix him. Or if I just love him hard enough, maybe he'll do it. It's bad.
Or he makes me feel like this.
Yeah.
That's a big sort of thing. How a man can make her feel can override.
Emotion. It's all emotion. And when does emotion get out of the way? When shit hits the fan. When shit hits the fan, emotion starts to go to the wayside. And shit starts to hit the fan around 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. That's when life starts to get serious, especially for women, because one, you're hitting your sexual peak. And the reason you're hitting your sexual peak is because your procreation years are getting lower and lower. You don't have the same time frame you had when you was younger. You gotta get on your ball. And if you continue to deal with these bad dudes, you stuck in the same situation. Like, how many women, ladies out there, be honest, are baby mamas? I can tell you in the Black community, it's about 70%. It's about 70% of babies are born out of wedlock in the Black community, probably higher. I'm just going off since I looked at 2 years ago. It may be higher. But if 70% in the Black community are baby mamas, and that's just one race, think about white people, think about Hispanic people, think about all the other races. That's a lot of women who are making babies that don't have a stable home.
It's big
and
in
generally, you don't have that stable home, not because you don't want it, but because the guy ain't staying. The women generally leave the situation, but it's not because 99% of the time because of the situation is great. They leave it because they think something better is out there or because something happened. But the point is they don't have that good, quote unquote, good guy, because you stick around for him. Like I said, Sierra and Future. She bounced. She had a kid with him. He was constantly cheating on her. So what she do? She left. Good for her. Now she got Russell Wilson. She pumping out babies every 6 months. She's beating the cycle. It's supposed to take 9. She's like, fuck it, I'll get it out in 6. Because he's a good dude. We could discuss whether you think he's a simp or not. I don't really care about that. I'm talking about just as a father figure. He's a good dude. You could tell how devoted he is to his kids and his family. You can see it in his face. The man wants to be a good dude. You get that guy and you don't want him to leave because you've already experienced the trauma from before. You learned, you know better. Like I said, life kicked you in the face. But why does it take life to kick you in the face for you to learn a simple lesson? Like, an ain't shit dude is always going to be an ain't shit dude. There's no guy who turns his life around. It's not this ain't magic. This ain't Doctor Strange doesn't come and twiddle his fingers and all of a sudden you stop wanting to cheat on your woman. It just doesn't happen. If you're, ladies, you're not going to change us. The only people that can change a man is that man himself. It doesn't happen any other way. You're not, no amount of love, no amount of sucking my dick from the back, no matter what you're doing is going to make me change who I am. Like, you can't change me into a bad guy. Just like you can't change a bad guy into a good guy. They have to want to.
Like, it's not pro wrestling.
Yeah. There's no storylines.
There's no heel turns and face turns.
It just, something happens. Like, I'm not going to say guys don't fuck around on women, or they don't, have their phase where they just want to get as much sex as possible from it. All men do that. All men get it out of the system because we're sexual creatures. It happens. But I'm talking about the guys who are past that point. They're either going to continue doing that or they're not gonna. You have no say in it. There's nothing you're going to do that's going to make that change. They're either going to do it because they want to keep doing it, or they're not going to do it because they don't want to hurt you anymore. They still want to, but they're not going to do it. But you don't have anything to do with that equation. All you can do is be you. So why? This goes to my second thing about this whole topic. Like, why do good guys finish last? And I'm not speaking for me because I didn't finish last. I've done very well for myself. You know some of my stories. I'm not going to share all of them online, but I've been out here. I've done a lot of work damage in my vicinity. There's a lot of females that have seen what I look like naked, for lack of a better term. Why do good guys have to finish last? And what can we do for those good guys who are in their 20s and in their 30s and wondering when is it going to change? What advice would you give to them?
So first of all, I want to say this is what the show is actually all about. This is how we're trying to actually help guys, because on a philosophical level, the nice guy finishes last because men are not meant to be nice. And there's a big difference between nice and kind. And we mistake kindness for niceness. And they're not the same thing. We're not meant to be nice because being nice is disingenuous. a guy who's just always nice. I know one person. There's only one person I've ever met who I'm like, man, that is a nice guy and he deserves not to finish last.
It's not me. It's not me, everybody.
It's
Just so you
definitely
know.
not you.
It's not me.
100% not you.
No.
But this guy is a genuinely great guy, and he is kind all the time, and he means it. There's no other guy I've met who's that genuine, who means it all the time. And he's been through his share of shit, stuff that he doesn't deserve. And I'm not that guy. And I've been through my share, my fair.
So I'm not that guy.
Yeah, I'm not that guy, but I've been through my fair share of stuff. But we're not meant to be nice. We are designed to win, to either win or lose. Now, I think I said this maybe on our first episode. There's no good or bad. There's just winning and losing. And in the process of trying to win, sometimes you're going to do good things, sometimes you're going to do bad things. And the only thing that's truly bad are the crazy people who murder, the crazy guys who commit sexual assault and stuff like that. Those are the only guys who are bad. The warmongers, maybe you might even say, like the politicians, the people who really just screw people over in the name of their own greed. But they're even looking at it as they're winning.
They don't, and that goes into, it's another dichotomy about, ladies, we love you. Everything I say comes with a hint of Buckley's, but it's not meant to do harm. It's meant to make you feel better eventually once you get it.
We need a hint of Buckley's on a t-shirt, by the way.
Yeah, well, the merch will happen, but this little tidbit of Buckley's is going to hurt, but it's a factual statement. You can look it up. Don't be upset. There's a reason men make more than women. It has nothing to do with gender politics or anything like that. It's because when it comes down to money, we don't care about feelings. We care about making the money. In order to become a millionaire or billionaire, you have to screw over a lot of people. You have to fuck over somebody. You're never going to make that amount of money doing good things, doing all good deeds. Like Bill Gates gives away, what was it, like 30% of his fortune every year? Do we talk about all the other evil shit that he does to counteract that? Because it's a laundry list of shit that he's involved with that you would not be okay with if you looked into it. These microprocessors aren't made in America. They're not made with the greatest of labor pay. And that's for anything. That's for that iPhone that you're listening to us on right now. Would you like to know how it's made? Because you'd hate it. You wouldn't be able to buy it if you really knew what was going on in it. That's what men can do. We can take the feelings out of any relationship if it's going to be worth a certain amount of money. Women don't generally do that. And when they do, they're an anomaly that generally doesn't procreate. They're one of those anomalies that, like an Oprah. Oprah does some fucked up shit. She's done it for a long time. Her first, 3 or 4 or 5 seasons of shows were basically the Maury Show with a woman. They were terrible entertainment. They were some of the worst TV out possible, but it made her a lot of money, so she kept doing it. She had that switch in her DNA. She basically thought like a man, but now she's paying for it because she got no kids. She has a stable relationship-ish with Stedman, but who knows what's going on with that. But she got the billions to go along with it. It's always a trade-off. There's a reason why more men are more successful than women when it comes to business, because we can wipe out those emotions. And that's what it comes down to with this. Like you when it comes to relationships, I used to tell this woman I was messing with, you got to give 90%. Don't ever give 100% of yourself to anybody, except for your kids. You got to give 90%. Because you need to save something just for you. You need to save at least 10% for rational thought. Because rationally speaking, and I keep saying ladies because this doesn't really apply to guys, because guys don't really we don't wife the bad female. We may mess up and have a baby by her.
Well, we don't wife a bad female up on purpose.
Not even on purpose. We don't do it, period. I'll have a terrible baby mother, but I'm never going to have a terrible wife. I will be out. There is unless you're such the beta male that you're just going to take the abuse forever, we will leave. We prize our happiness and our peace more than anything else.
That is, man, and it takes, that's such a good point, and I really cannot stress this enough. I want to drive this very specific point you just made very home to a lot of the guys who might be listening. I want you to, can you repeat it one more time?
We value our peace more than anything. Point blank simple. It does there is the ultra limits of beta males that will sit and take up females' abuse for the rest of their life. But majority of us are going to leave because we value our peace. I will have a baby with you, and I will go to court and file for a paternity and try to take the baby away just so I don't got to be with you. Men will leave our healthy, our family just to not be verbally abused by our women. We will fuck up. We will get that chick pregnant. We will have sex with a girl who we know is a hoe, and we know she's not good for us. And, she may drink too much, or she may do all this other stuff, or she's, quote unquote, for the streets. We'll fuck her, and we'll sometimes have a baby by her by accident, but we're not wifing her. And anytime you see go ahead. So go ahead. Anytime you see a woman like that and you wonder why she got these kids and no man, it's because that man said, I'm not staying with that. Why would I made a mistake and had a baby with it, but I'm not sticking with it. You don't go to being for the streets to being for the kitchen. It doesn't happen. Men can take that emotion away from the situation and start to apply logic. We know going into this, we're going to have a great time. I'll be honest with you. I brought up Lisa Ann earlier. If she said, hey, Ace, come to my place tonight, let's have a great time, I'll be there in 5.3 seconds. I'll be the Flash. You'd be the first black man to break the sound barrier on his feet. But am I going to wife her? Am I going to marry her? No. I seen her have sex with 15 dudes. Then I can count. There's a lot more. There's a lot more footage. I'm just not paying for porn. But I can get free and see at least 15 different ones.
Oh, facts.
She made a career doing some disgusting stuff. I'm not following that. I want to be involved in it. I want to experience it, but I'm not marrying it. And that's what you ladies got to understand. Like, you got to take that same ruthless logic and apply it to your situation. If you're a female and you were a dude that sells drugs, what future is there? It's only two outcomes to that game. I come from the hood. You either get out or you go to jail. That's it. And by out can mean a few things. Out can mean killed, or that you just stop selling drugs and you get a better life. Or there's jail. Those are the only two outcomes. It's just like gang life. You either get out or you go to jail. And out can be a few things. Out could be murdered, or out could be you stop gangbanging. So if you know, and I don't want to believe that women are stupid, because you're not stupid. You're smart. You have the same intelligence capacity as men. You just don't apply it because emotion gets in your way. You know that guy who's selling drugs, who is gangbanging, who's doing X, Y, and Z, who's running the streets all night long. You know he's up to no good. What are you accomplishing by sticking with him? If you
know the captain of the football team is also smashing one or two cheerleaders.
Yeah, like, what is the logic behind staying there? What are you going to accomplish? Nothing. The only thing it's going to accomplish is he's going to keep doing what he's doing, and you're going to keep being upset with life. Or you can go try to find a better situation, a man who's not going to do the things that are non-negotiables for you. If you're okay with that stuff, like if you are Tasha from Power, who is okay being with the drug lord because you got the fancy lifestyle to go with it, by all means, knock yourself out. If that's what you want out of life and that's all you care about, good for you. But if you actually want a stable home, a stable life and not to be like, I remember I dated this, and I say dated very loosely. I had a lot of sex with this woman who was in a relationship with a known drug dealer, a known dude who pushed a lot of weight. And the reason I got with her is because she was forced to stay with me for a couple of days because her home got raided. And they took a man to jail. And I had to ask her, like,
what a horrible idea.
Do? Yeah, no, it worked out great for me. But I said, what are you doing with this dude? Like, what are you, I'm not going to marry you. I'm not, but like, as a person who's concerned with your safety, what are you, oh, well, he just treats me well. And, he always has money and you can guess what happens next. He's in jail for a long period of time. She had to move on. Because that's what happens in those bad boys, those dudes that are in that lifestyle, the dudes that are, I don't even know the white equivalent of it, whatever the white equivalent is of the drug dealing dude or the knucklehead guy or the gang member, whatever the situation is, he's going to continue being that. You can't stop him. You can't change him from being who he is. What you can change is who you are. So I'm gonna assume, you know what I want to do? I'm going to do a segment with you. I came up with this. I forgot to mention it in the production meeting.
All right.
I'm going to be Jarek Daxon.
Eric
no, Jarek Daxon. And you be you. And I'm going to give you the advice that you want the ladies, the advice that made him famous. And I want you, Rob, to sniff out the bullshit if you can, because he was eloquent with his bullshit. You up until he got caught, nobody knew he was a liar, except for every man in the world.
Except for dudes.
Except for every man ever. But that's besides the point. So me as Jarek Daxon, I'm going to say to you, ladies, you are queens. You are the mothers of Earth. We are all love stretch marks. Team Daxon, what's happening? I'm going to tell you that you can take that. Fix your crown, push to the top, keep your shoulders high, whatever nonsense he used to say. Ladies, you are always going to be special. And that man that is with you, if he does not understand how special is, you have to show him how special you are. You have to be the queen so that he can rise to your level and become your king. You have to work harder. You have to show that man that you will not be disrespected by him going to every other woman's house every other night, that you will not accept the fact that he is selling drugs and ruining his community and bringing danger and violence into your home, that he will not be a stable father for his kids that you had out of wedlock because he won't marry you. You have to show him your crown, queens, and he will eventually rise to your level, and then you will have that happy home you're looking for. Isn't that right, Rob?
Oh, I lost you halfway through that because that was just such rambling nonsense. But okay. It's going to be a hard no.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought that's what it was. I apologize. But ladies, do you understand that if you made choices, if you made logical decisions, that both men and women would be in a much better place? Like, think about, like, we're going to talk to the good guys. For like the last segment, we got about 15 minutes left. For the last segment, we're going to start talking to you guys. Ladies, go away, turn it off. You don't want to, this is man talk. Like and subscribe before you turn it off, but turn it off. Just leave.
Light your cigars, gentlemen, get your drink.
Good guys who are frustrated, guys who are don't understand why the other guy gets picked over them, the guy with the guitar case who always cheats, or the guy who the 6'10" basketball player, or the drug dealer, or any of those. This is mostly for younger dudes, because older dudes kind of figure it out. But younger dudes, if you keep getting passed over and you're wondering why. Let me explain something to you. Good. It's good that that's happening. Because one, you don't want those women anyway. If a woman is dumb enough to say, I would rather have a guy whose status is higher but makes me unhappy than a guy whose status is actually on my level, then you don't want them. What you do instead is, instead of focusing on those women, you focus on that money.
Yes.
That is the ultimate equalizer, fellas. All the time that you spent pontificating about why the head cheerleader won't have sex with you, or the hot chick at your job won't have sex with you, or your friend who you don't really want to be friends with, but she ain't going to get you out of the friend zone, won't have sex with you. All that energy you gave to that, put that into overtime at your job. Put that into studying the stock market. Put that into any type of financial gain you can find. Because over time, that overrides everything. There ain't no ugly billionaires. There's not one. Like Jay-Z said, I'm cute. There's no ugly millionaires, to be honest. If you make it too close to if you make it close to $1 million, if you had 500,000 a year, do you realize that 500,000 a year, you are in the top 1% of all male earners in this country? That opens up your possibilities to 99% of the women in this country. It's just math. You're going to have a lot more to choose from when you focus on that. Don't worry about the women right now. They're going to come. Don't worry about, oh, good guys always finish last. No, good guys always finish best. But you got to make sure that you're doing the right things to finish that way. Because if you spend all your time worried about, Heather or Stacy or Claire or whatever this stupid girl's name is, that's time you're taking away from yourself. And all you got in this life is time. It's the ultimate equity. It's
the most valuable commodity. And if I can add some downloadable content to this particular section,
get it.
We're talking about what you need to do with your life because you're worried about maybe like this girl, that girl, whatever. I mean, there is a point of no return for a lot of women where their behavior has just gotten out of control. But by and large, if you are working on yourself to get to that level that he's talking about, that Ace is talking about right now, and this is why you got to be paying hard attention to what he's saying right now. If you are doing your due diligence to get your finances where it needs to be, and not only that, we've talked about this on other episodes, to get yourself physically in the right type of shape for your own health, if you are focused on yourself to being the best version of you, a woman who you might be interested in physically, she checks off all the boxes, but her behavior is not right, but she's into you, she will change her behavior for you. They don't change their behavior for guys who want to smoke weed and play Xbox all day. They don't change their behavior for guys who just happen to be good looking, but they might hit her. They don't change their behavior for guys who are just doing well financially, but they're lacking in a lot of other parts of their life. They don't change their behavior for losers. Your job isn't to be a loser, it's to be a winner. And that is how you are going to, you can't even think about her behavior. You have to just be thinking about yourself. And you'll at some point realize, oh, females are adjusting their behavior to sort of suit my needs at this point. You got to believe that that can happen, but you have to work on yourself exactly the way he's talking about.
And it's the ultimate equalizer, guys. Like you looks matter, but looks are secondary. Status matters. The status is secondary. When it comes to life, a 25-year-old woman will gladly have sex, have babies, marry a 39, 40-year-old man who's doing well for himself, as opposed to just that other bum that you were competing with before. You're not gonna, we are handed a genetic hand of cards. We're given a generic hand of cards. Sometimes it's a pair for poker terms. Sometimes it's a flush. Sometimes it's a straight. Sometimes it's 4 of a kind. Look up those. I'm not going to explain them. One is obviously better than the other. Some people are given the ace from jump. Some people are given a joker. So you're given a bad hand. You may look funny. You may be scrawny. You can't. There are certain things, no matter how much you work out, you can't fix. You can't fix being 5'5". There's no surgery to make you 6 foot tall. It doesn't exist yet. You can't fix having a little dick. Sorry, guys. There's a surgery out there, but you might not want to take that chance because it's not looking good. You can't fix the way your face looks to a certain degree, because men don't really do well with the plastic surgery. It doesn't look well on us. It doesn't really go. They figured out ladies, but not us too much. But you can fix your swag. You can fix your pockets. You can fix your overall situation. And that goes by stop focusing on what these ladies want and focus on what you need. That's the ultimate key there. You be a good guy. Don't change who you are for anybody. Don't try to be a bad boy, because it's just going to be disingenuous and it's not going to work anyway. Be who you are. Take that time to focus on you, and I guarantee you, the beauty of God or Allah or Yahweh or Buddha or whatever deity you may believe in or not believe in, or nature, whatever you want to, science, whatever you want to. But the beauty of the situation is, as they get older, they get less desirable. As we get older, we get more desirable. And that especially happens with money, because men tend to mature financially after 40. So you're going to notice once you hit 35, 36, 37, and you got a little bit of change in your pocket, your bank account goes from hundreds to thousands to tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands. When you start making those moves, you got a house under your name, you have a car or two under your name, you're going to start notice that your female options are wide open, way more than they were when you were younger. And the same chicks that you would have got turned down for when you was 25 are going to be knocking down your door when you're 45. Take my advice or not. Be an incel. I don't care. Less competition for me. I'm just doing this because I've lived it. I was that nice guy until about 26. I was that guy who was super friend zoned and was doing all the things and put the women on a pedestal, and these women are queens. I was Jarek Jackson when I was younger. You learn through experiences that's not righteous. You got to be you. And that wasn't me. That was who I wanted. That's who I thought women wanted. So I tried to be that. And that's just not me. The guy who I am now is me. The guy who I am is the guy who literally can go onto Facebook, and I've showed this to Rob, and show DMs of women saying, "Hey, big head. Hey, cutie. Hey, long time no speak. Hey, what you been up to? I've been thinking about you." When you haven't messaged them in years. Why? Because their options are running low when yours are going bigger. So, fellas, that's the only advice I got for y'all when this good guys finish last segment. Don't worry about it. For the dudes who are assholes, I got nothing to say to you, man. You are who you are. There's nothing I can do. You want to ruin homes. You want to, sell drugs, do all this stuff. Do it, knock yourself out. It'll turn eventually. It's going to get bad. The lifestyle doesn't end well for anybody. They don't have to do, they can do all the documentaries in the world. They can tour all the different prisons and show you all how it ends up. You're not going to believe me. So when you get locked up, hopefully you'll learn your lesson. Hopefully it doesn't take a bullet to learn your lesson, but God bless either way.
I mean, Simon Adebisi will be waiting on the other side.
Yeah. Rob, you got anything to add to this?
At the end of the day, it's like I said when we were talking earlier, the production meeting kind of spelled it out for us, in that we both had the same conclusion with just two different sort of routes and reasonings. Neither of us are necessarily saying the other is wrong, because at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter, because the end result can be still mitigated by you. For the gentlemen who are listening, whether it's the operating system or the software that's installed, it's all about who's using the computer, not the computer itself. You know what I mean? And I shouldn't even use the word using, because that has that negative connotation, but it's about you as the user who is, just trying to use the computer, or in this sense, you as the guy who's just trying to go through life and have a relationship with a woman, and they're going to have other users before you. And whether it's their instinct based on how they were raised and their general upbringing as far as what their puberty was like, and the hard wiring that is the fact that they're emotional creatures compared to us as logical creatures, or whether it's their surroundings and what they grew up in as they got older, to that made them make maybe poor choices in their life. That doesn't control you. You control you. Your reactions to them are going to determine where you're going, because you can't really let the way women react to you bother you all that much if you expect to be building yourself into the better version of yourself. You know what I mean? I don't remember what episode it was, but I said a woman cannot be the focus of your life. They are supposed to be a complement to your life. And if you are letting them be the focus of your life, you're going to be very bothered by this topic today, because either you are the bad guy and you're thinking, man, I'm never going to get out of this bad guy mode because it's the only thing that works. It gets me laid. Or you're the good guy and you're not getting laid and you're never going to get out of that because you're worried about all the bad guys that have ran through her. You can't be worried about these things. You have to be worried about, if you're not in shape, you are susceptible to diseases. If you're a smoker, you're susceptible to cancer. If you're not focused on your money, you're always going to be broke. If you are concentrating too much on stuff that doesn't matter, you're going to miss the important things, like your check engine light. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
when you care too much about the bad guys winning and the nice guy finishing last, you're going to let other more important stuff hurt you even more. You're going to forget about your taxes. You're going to slack off at your job and get yourself fired. You know what I mean? Like you're going to screw up further. So concentrate on that, and you'll be very, very, very surprised as to when you are concentrating on that and when things are going your way and it's not important to you, how attractive that is to better women, or how willing women will be to adjust their behavior to fit your lifestyle because you are managing yourself better.
and ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for tonight. As always, like and subscribe. We're going to get this catalog up, start getting open up the lines for callers and all that stuff eventually. But hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm Ace, this is Rob. We'll talk to you next week.
Enjoy.